content is king. I don't believe that you can produce too much content because there's all these filters and things like that. And if you put enough out there, more people will see it. Welcome to the Matt Laricy Project. This is a show about all things real estate, business, marketing, and entrepreneurship. Each show consists of myself, Matt Laricy, and a guest. This week, we don't have a desk. We got to talk about some trending topics because there is a lot going on. This is Season 3, Episode 10, the Trifecta. Vaccine, election results, and no fair tax. What does this all mean for Chicago real estate? I mean, this is some really big topics going on. We a lot of people have been calling me the last couple of days. Today is November 11th. That is November 11th. So whatever I'm telling you now, by the time we release this, if it's changed, at this point, I cannot predict the future. I can only tell you what I'm seeing happening. But what we want to do is try to get some information out here as soon as possible about what we're seeing. And because there's been so many calls, I mean, the last 2 days, today's Wednesday, November 11th, by the way, not just November 11th, it's Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday, I haven't really had any appointments, but my phone has literally been blowing up with people asking me, what does this all mean? So what we did is we took the questions that all of our sellers, all of our buyers, etc., were asking of us, and we put them all in one place. And we're just going to kind of knock them out so everybody can get a little bit of a better idea to stay up to date on these three huge topics. So start off, question number one is, what does the fair tax not passing actually mean? Well, JB's not very happy that this didn't get passed. The rest of the country or the rest of the state is. It means that the city or the state can't change taxes whenever they want to. They pitched it like it was a billionaire tax. Remember, guys, there's only 18 billionaires in Illinois, and 6 of them have the last name Pritzker. So there's not really many billionaires that were going to get affected. This was a tax. This was a law to change the tax code, meaning somebody making $50,000 a year could have their taxes raised at 10%. So what it means to you is that the government, who we can't technically trust in our state, since we can say that they're not running our state appropriately with funds, they're definitely mismanaging them. It's stating that they can't change the tax law, and that's huge because they want to start at the top and then work all the way to the bottom. And I think it's going to be great for the state, personally. I know a lot of people are mad that it didn't pass, but personally, I think it's a great thing for the market. What does it mean for the future of Illinois and taxes? No clue. We're broke. We're going to remain broke until somebody figures it out. If I was, the government, I would get together like the 12 smartest economic people in the world and I'd say, here's my math problem, solve it. I mean, we were able to send people to the moon in the 60s, debatable. They were able to do that. I can't imagine they can't figure out a way to solve our economic problem. There is a way. It's going to be hard. It's going to be rough. I don't think you necessarily have to tax people to death to get there. I think everybody wants instant results. I think they're probably going to have to really get together with people and say, hey, here's our problem. What's our 20-year plan to get it done? Maybe it takes 20 years. Maybe it takes 30 years. Journey of the 1,000 miles begins with a single step, guys. You gotta get there, but everybody wants it done now. And I think what they're trying to do is rip a Band-Aid off, but it didn't work. How will it impact Chicago real estate market specifically and the burbs? I think it's going to affect the market in a very positive way. I think if that was passed, the high-end market would have tanked for at least the immediate future. Long-term, it probably would have went back to somewhat normal. As the burbs, I mean, I don't think it really is going to affect the burbs at all. I mean, the burbs isn't as volatile as things like the city. People aren't moving and going all the time. I mean, if you live in the burbs, a lot of people out there, let's think about it. Like you grew up in the house that you were raised in, and you stayed there, and your parents may still live there. So it's just not as, there's not as many moving parts. What will the tax increase look like now? No clue. I'm sure real estate taxes are going to go up. I'm sure they're going to try to, I think they are allowed to raise taxes a little bit. I don't know how much, though. I'm not as educated on that. I got D's at Eastern Illinois, so I'm not sure what the tax laws are that they could change. But I have to imagine that they're going to go up a little bit. What does the news of the vaccine mean for Chicago real estate? So for everybody out there, again, November 11th, by this gets released, this could change, so don't kill me. But as of Monday of this week, which would have been November 9th, they announced that Pfizer had a vaccine that is 90% likely to cure the disease. So that means that's actually greater than the flu shot, which is crazy timing. If you ever listen to these podcasts, you would hear that I've been saying for months that after this election, magically, a cure is going to come out of nowhere. I actually, personally, conspiracy theorists in me, you call me whatever you want to call me, I think it's 100%, but they're saying 90% because I think too many people go crazy right now. But what does that mean? It means that Chicago is back. That's what it means. The vaccine being out means that the mentality is going to change. Yes, I think it's going to get a lot worse in the city. Yes, I think there's a possible lockdown. But I think long-term, next 12 months, we're going to start seeing people doing the great migration back to the city. Why does a vaccine have anything to do with real estate or the market? It has everything to do with it. Guys, the reason people don't live in the city right now, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons people don't live in the city right now is because they think if they get on an elevator and touch a button, they're going to die. They think if they get in an elevator and breathe shared air that they're going to die. People think that if they sit in a square box under lockdown and a pie up in the sky, that they're going to die. People think if they breathe other people's air through the ventilation while in a high-rise, that they're going to die. I could go on and on and on. So what does the vaccine mean for real estate? It means that every single thing I just said is now off the boards. It means that the ghost town that we've been seeing walking around over here like like a zombie land type movie where nobody's out here, it means that people are going to start coming back. It's going to change the mentality. Most of this is a mental game, meaning that a lot of people are fearful of what it is. The vaccine makes it be all rainbows and unicorns now, and that's going to make the market pick up. How will the local election results for Chicago impact the market and real estate? I mean, there really wasn't like a huge shift in the change of seats for the local, meaning just like the state, what's changed here. So literally it's going to have no impact because nothing changed. As the real estate, not going to change at all because nothing has changed. They're not going to do any crazy laws. I haven't read anything yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they published something right now. But as of now, I don't think it's going to make a difference. How will the national election results impact Chicago? Short term, guys, it's not going to impact at all. Long term, we'll see. I mean, here's the thing. Like, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, technically speaking, Republicans are a little bit more business oriented. So it's possible that, they could have been a little bit better for the market. But it's not like the Democrats do anything bad. It's not like the real estate market was terrible under Obama or Clinton or anything like that. I mean, it's too early to tell. As of right now, this could change, but it looks like the Republicans are going to take the Senate, which means that the Dems won't have the majority, which means that even Biden's, tax plan to tax the rich to death doesn't mean that it's going to pass. There's 3 branches of government. You need them to pass a law. Is the tax man going to pass? I don't think so. So I don't think it's going to have a big impact. A lot of real estate agents were fearful about Biden has a 1031 exchange. For everybody out there, there's a 1031 kind exchange, meaning that if you sell something at $500,000 and you buy something else at $500,000, you cannot get taxed on the income. They wanted to take that off the table. That's one of Biden's plans. Is that going to pass? Clinton wanted to pass that. They wanted to pass that back in 2017. It didn't get passed. I mean, who knows? We can't always be so fearful of and buy into this. Well, if X and X gets elected, the world's going to end. And if so-and-so gets elected, this is going to end. Things are always going to change, for the better or the worse. And the difference between what happens in the market and how you react to it is what's going to make the difference. So yeah, we could be dramatic and think that like the world's going to end, or we could say like, listen, this is the cards we're dealt. Here's how we're going to deal with it. This is how we're going to pivot our business to make it work, and that's it. So we can't be a prisoner of the moment society thinking like everything's going to get crazy because somebody else gets elected. Is this the end of the civil unrest? I think so. I think so. I think a lot of people, listen, almost half of America voted for Trump. And the other half voted for Biden. Biden won. Whether you won or lost, you have to suck it up and say, listen, we had our way or we didn't have our way, and now it's time to lose. But I think the civil unrest was a lot brought about because of certain people in office. And I think with Biden and Harris being elected, I think that's going to settle a lot of the people down that were very upset. I could be wrong. Hopefully it gets better. My goal, all I care about is that people are happy and the cities aren't destroyed. That's it. Will civil unrest be handled differently with Biden as president versus Trump? Is Chicago more or less protected now? I mean, Chicago's a super democratic city. I mean, it has been. It's probably going to be for the foreseeable future. Will that change? Who knows? I would imagine with a Democrat in president and us being a Democrat city, it would make us a little bit more protected. I believe Biden and Pritzker are friends. And I think the civil unrest will probably be handled differently because the vice president-elect and the president-elect are very much on the sides of the civil unrest. So I'd have to imagine it's going to get better. Will they try and pass the fair tax again? I mean, it's possible. I doubt it, though. I think the people have spoken. I think it showed that people don't want it. And I hope they don't try to pass it again. Can't tell the future, but I don't think they're going to try. How did the fair tax play out in other states that have it? It didn't play out well. I mean, look at California. A lot of people are flocking out of California. You see things in Connecticut. I mean, that's why states like Texas and Florida are growing so much because everybody's sick of paying taxes. As much as everybody tells me that they want to pay taxes, the main thing I hear about from almost every client I have is how much they hate Illinois taxes and how much they hate Chicago real estate taxes. I hear it 1,000 times a day. So when people tell me otherwise, I'm like, well, you might be full of shit because I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 people tell me that they hate paying taxes and they hate paying real estate taxes. So I'd have to imagine if that passed, people would be very upset. Will buyers be more nervous to buy now that there isn't a clear path for what will happen with taxes? Yes and no. The reality is, guys, a lot of tax questions here, even with all this other good stuff. The reality is, guys, is that taxes suck in Chicago. They're going to continue to suck. And anybody that buys there has to know it. Are we going to lose out on international out-of-state investors? Sure. But long-term speaking, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Will buyers be more nervous to buy now? Oh, no, we just said that. Can Chicago raise property taxes at any time? Yeah, and every 3 years, they reassess taxes. We pay taxes in arrears, which means we pay last year's taxes this year. Every 3 years, we reassess them. What is the reassessment? Nobody knows. It's like the Wizard of Oz. They pump in an equalizer. They spit out a number. And guess what, guys? 2021, we won the lotto, is the reassessment year right after COVID. So I'm sure they're going to go way up. Are Chicago's tax rules different than across the rest of the states? No, the city's taxes are very similar in the whole state. I mean, Chicago's are a little bit different, but not terribly different. How will the election impact other big cities like New York, LA, San Francisco, et cetera? I mean, I think it's going to have a positive impact. First off, even if Trump won this thing, I think there would be unrest for a little bit, and then it would settle down. At the end of the day, it is what it is. People are very upset. I think COVID is what's making a lot of people upset on top of it. I mean, humans aren't meant to be stuck in cages all day. We lash out. We get upset. A lot of people are out of work. A lot of people don't have money to feed their families. A lot of people's businesses just folded. There's a lot to be upset about right now, and you throw in a change of guard, and people are pissed off. And I think now that we have one huge thing that is now done with, I think big cities are going to have a comeback. I think that the election being done with is going to settle down the civil unrest, and I think magically this vaccine is going to start to work, and we're going to start seeing the Great Migration. Remember, I said it. I'm going to be using this word a lot, the Great Migration back to the city. That's what you're going to start seeing in the next 12 months. What does it mean that the market is back right now? Well, I'm not saying the market is back right this second. I'm saying the market is coming back Q1. I have said it for 6 or 7 plus months. I think Q1 is going to be gangbusters. I said that the election would be over. I said the civil unrest would be pretty much done. I said COVID would be on its way out. As of right now, November 11th, everything I've said has so far come true. If that happens, real estate will be back in big cities Q1. Remember, I said that. What does the future for the market look like? I think the immediate future, meaning the next couple months to the end of the year, looks like shit. I do. I think this COVID, even with this vaccine, is going to get worse. I mean, the numbers are going way up. I mean, it's going to get cold. It's going to get dark. It's going to get scary. And I think this vaccine is going to take off. And I think come Q1, things are going to change. So very short term, the market will be good. Like immediate term, it's going to be very good. Long term, who knows? 2-3 years from now, what's COVID's effect going to have on the market? No clue. Is it still a good time to invest in real estate right now? If I wanted to buy real estate, I did a podcast, 2 podcasts ago that now is the best time to buy. If you're watching this right now, we release these before we put them up on social, November 11th, from November 11th to December 31st, buy. I'm telling you right now, the mentality is going to change and you're going to regret it. And you're going to go back and be like, how did those people get those deals? Buy now. Do you think everyone who left Chicago super fast, is going to regret it? 100%. I think we're going to see a lot of FOMO. We had a lot of clients that were getting engaged, still want to get married. Kids were like 5 to 7 years off on the horizon. They bought that, normally they get a first place and they moved out to the burbs. I'm telling you, this vaccine works and everything starts opening up. Sure as shit, those people are going to be nervous. I mean, best restaurant you could go to is Applebee's. They're going to be driving in the city all the time. All their friends are going to be out. You're 25 to 27 without any kids and you move to the burbs, you're going to have some FOMO. Let me back that up. You move to the burbs and you're used to big city living. There's some people who just love the burbs. That's why they make red cars, black cars, blue cars. Everybody's got their own opinion. But there's a lot of people who were a prisoner of the moment, rushed to the burbs, and I think they're going to regret it. If you want to buy a place in the next 3 months, should you try to buy before the holidays or wait until January? Buy now. I just said it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Buy now if you can. Do you anticipate that there are a lot of the two-party conflict dying down now that the election is over? I think for the immediate future, so as of November 11th, I'm sure when this is released, this whole thing's going to be done. So don't be like, Matt, you were wrong. The Republicans are fighting this as we speak. Whether they'll win or not, maybe Biden won't get this. Maybe this will be Trump, and this whole thing that I'm going on with doesn't mean shit. But I'm only talking about what's happening right this second. If let's play it out. Let's say Trump fights the law, none of it goes through, he loses, and Biden wins. I think immediate 3-4 months, Republicans, Democrats are going to hate each other's guts. And I think with Trump being out of office, things are going to start to die down a little bit because I don't think there's going to be as many people poking the bear. I think Trump was very good at poking the bear. And maybe he did it we don't know, guys. We're not behind the scenes. Maybe what he was doing is right. Maybe what he was doing is wrong. I don't know. I'm not educated in the political landscape. What I can tell you is I have to imagine this whole thing is dying down. I think everybody's sick of this shit. I think everybody's just like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about this shit over and over and over again. The average person wants to go home, hang out with their family, eat a decent dinner, Netflix and chill, and go to bed. That's all people want to do. They don't want to deal with this shit. And I think that the average American is just done. They're just exhausted. They don't even care anymore. They just want it over with. Do you believe the election is 100% over? I mean, I would like to think it is. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it will change. Maybe there was some foul play. Maybe there wasn't. There's a lot of crazy shit that happened, in politics. I have no idea. How long after that vaccine is available do you think we will all be wearing masks? I think the average person is still going to be a little bit nervous, especially if you have some sort of medical condition or if you have, you're older. And I think there's just then also people who are nervous. I think for the people who aren't in any of those categories, they won't be wearing masks. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm having a newborn here in about 5 weeks, and will I be wearing a mask? Probably in the immediate future. But the minute my new daughter's born and she's a couple months old and this vaccine is real, I'm not going to be wearing a mask. I can't wait to remove a mask. I hate wearing a mask. I'm sure a lot of people do, but I do it to protect not only myself but my family and everybody else around me. But I think it's a matter of time until these masks are done. I do think it's gonna be cool. Like flash forward like 30 years from now when you're going to be telling like little kids, like, we had to wear a mask for like 14, 15 months. The question is though, 30 years from now, are we going to shake people's hands again? I don't know. Great question. Some people do. And I'll tell you right now, I meet a lot of people still today that put out the hand to shake it. And it's a very uncomfortable, like 10 seconds where you're like, I can't shake it. So we'll see. That should be a question. Do I think the handshake's going to come back with the vaccine? I think it will. I still do, guys. Just so you know, I'm on record. I think the handshake is coming back. What are my next travel plans? Got it. I am March 22nd to the 26th. Those will be my next big days off. March 22nd to 26th. I am taking my 37th birthday in Napa Valley. I am going no matter what. I don't care if the world's burning down. I, just like everybody else, would love an escape from reality for a couple days. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's far enough out. Hopefully this vaccine works and is out there. I don't think it'll be mass produced, but I've heard that since that vaccine is announced, that like travel has gone up like 90%, that people are booking things like crazy. They said travel, here we go. They said travel has gone through the roof with the vaccine announcements. Do you think that will have an impact on buyers buying out-of-state properties? Yeah. I think here's a big thing, guys. Like, a huge part of our business, is out-of-state buyers. They call them pied-à-terres, or investment buyers from like different countries, like international investors. Honestly, I can't even, like, I shouldn't say I can't remember. I'm doing like maybe one out-of-state buyer a month. I would do like one a week minimum, and I would do one out of the country investor once a week minimum. I mean, I can't even tell you that. The out of country investors, I literally no clue last time I did it. I can't even think about it. Out of state, it's just nowhere near where it is. This vaccine comes out, I think it's going to start coming back, especially people from China, India, Russia, things like that. I think they're going to want to start traveling here again. What about international? Same thing. We just talked about that. How will an available vaccine impact the housing market? It's going to have a huge impact. Let's remember, guys. If this vaccine is real, it gets FDA approval. It's going to be mass produced. It doesn't turn us into zombies. Did anybody else think that? By the way, like the minute they announced this vaccine, like my brain immediately went to Will Smith and I Am Legend. And I don't know why. I just thought about it right away. I don't even want to put that out there, but I did. Sorry. But it's going to have a huge impact because, as we said earlier, people are going to feel a lot more comfortable to live in a big city, walk around the streets. I just think it's going to change everything. I think it's going to make people, like I keep saying, it's going to make the great migration back. How will 2020 have a lasting impact on the real estate market? I don't think it will. I think 2020 is going to be like 2011. 2011 was 10 and 11 were terrible. I remember, like restaurants right now, God, help them all, but 2010 and 2011 was the real estate market is what restaurants are going through. I remember living through it. It was so depressing. It was honestly, it was hard to get out of bed because it was so tough. And I will tell you that, a lot of people weren't able to get up, right? There's that old saying, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. A lot of people they were down for the count. And the people who got up from that, they flourished and they became better. And I will tell you, I would never be where I'm at today if I didn't live through 2010 and 11. And I think a lot of people who lived through 2020, who operated a business and survived, is going to have that same feeling and going to have a little bit more of a swag and roughed up mentality of saying like, hey, maybe I got to save a little bit more. What if something like this happens? It's not that crazy. Something like this could, etc. And I think that it won't have an impact on like real estate values, but it'll have an impact on business owners of making sure that they're running their business correctly. Will talks of Biden's potential tax increase capital gains tax? Do you see, with talks of Biden's potentially increasing capital gains tax, do you see a potential of homeowners looking to sell sooner than later? Essentially, they're saying higher taxes, making luxury people want to sell now because of it. No, I'm not saying anybody gets scared of it. Again, guys, this is politics. How many politicians promise that they're going to do a million things and don't do a single one of them? Okay, so like until that bill is on the table and it gets passed, then people react. For right now, I'm not seeing too many people get too crazy about it. Does this become more of a seller's market? I think starting next year, if the vaccine is real, the market's going to definitely change towards more of a seller's market in the city. In the suburbs right now, it's like the hottest seller's market of all time. Chicago, it's the hottest buyer's market I've seen since 11. Will there be more inventory with the vaccine? I think what this is getting at is that people will want to sell their places because there's a vaccine. I think it's the opposite. I think people are going to want to stay. I think a lot of people who were going to sell, who were on the market last year and were selling to move to the burbs, now that there's a vaccine, they'll be like, shit, did I really want to go back? Here's the thing, guys. If there's a cure announced or a vaccine that's going to have a cure, businesses are going to start to map out. They're going to say, hey, there's now a vaccine. In March of this year, we're going to have 25% of people back in the office. July, 50. End of the year, 75. And by 2022 of February, we're 100% staffed again. I'm just making up things. But what businesses are going to start to do is map out a game plan back. And the average buyer, I will tell you right now, 7 out of 10 of my buyers think they were never going back to the office, ever. I'm not joking around. You think I'm crazy when I say this, but 7 out of 10 of my buyers tell me this. Now, with that being said, these buyers were like, hey, I want to move the burbs. Now they're going to get an email, and their bosses are like, hey, you're coming back to the office, let's say July. Now the buyers are like, shit, do I want to move to Hinsdale? I'm going to be back in the office in July. I thought I wasn't going back. Now I'm going to be in July. Oh, my friend Bob just went back to the office. My friend Jim is now going back to the office in February. Their friends are going to start going back to the office. Now they're going to have to go back to the office. And that's what's going to start the great migration, guys. I said this before this podcast started, but I said it's going to be like the Game of Thrones. It's like in the far distance, you see one person leading the pack. and he's way out there. This may be March, this may be April, this may be January, and he's coming his way, and everybody's following him, and they're following back to the city. It's going to be the great migration back to Chicago, and you're going to start seeing in March and April and May, maybe it's July, you're going to start seeing all the media talk about like how big cities are back. What happened with the burbs? What happened to the work from home? Look at the tech stocks for these work at home stocks. They're already, as of November 11th, they started going down. People are a prisoner in the moment society. People thought they were never going back to work. This vaccine changes everything if it is real. It means that people are mentally going to be like, shit, I'm not going to be in the suburbs for the rest of my life. I'm going to have to work from home, or I'm going to have to work from the office. Do I want a 2-hour commute there? Do I want a 2-hour commute back? That's 4 hours of my life, 5 days a week. That's 20 hours a week I wasted in the car that I could have been with my family, that could have been out. Do I think I'm being dramatic? No, because I'm telling you right now, guys, that's what's going to happen. And that's why cities exist. People love being in big cities. They love being around each other. People feed off energy. That's how cities existed. It's been happening since the dawn of man. People like to get together. You get a vaccine, people are going to feel comfortable getting back together again. The whole media hype that told you that nobody's ever going to live in the city again is crazy. And this vaccine is going to prove that I was right on my theory. Okay, that's a long tangent on that one. What is happening? What will happen to interest rates now? They might bump up a little bit. I mean, the Fed said they're going to keep them down through 2021. I think they're going to stay down. Biden has said that the one thing that Biden said that's favorable to the housing market, he's got a first-time buyer program. It's mostly targeted towards lower-income buyers, but, who knows? For now, I think they're going to stay down. That's what I can tell you from the immediate future. What is going to happen to property taxes now that fear tax is going to go through? They're going to go up. We talked about that. Will working from home be dead soon with the vaccine? Just talked about that. Yes. And by the way, guys, people who are looking for 1 bed plus den for an office, that's gone. People who wanted a 2-bedroom just because they work from home, that's gone. People are going back to 1-bedrooms. And not in general, but I'm saying like people are going to rethink the way that people are going to think back to how they were prior to the pandemic. Number 1 on every buyer's list, number 1 was close to public transportation. I can't even tell you when I ask for people's checklist when the last time I even seen public transportation. It's coming back, though. You're going to see that. We should have had a question here. Will people ride public transportation? And you're goddamn right they will. Now that there's a vaccine out, if this is true, if this is real, if this vaccine is legit, people are going to be riding public transportation again. Will people move back to the city? We talked about it. Great migration coming back. With the vaccine, is more people going to feel more comfortable living in high-rises? You're goddamn right they are. People love high-rises. They've always loved them. They love little compact places because they weren't at home much. People hated living at home. Look at New York. People live in 500 square feet and spend $5 million for it. People like to go out to restaurants. They like to go out to plays. They like to go hang out with other people. People like people. That's how it's been. I just talked about this. High-rises is great. You get great views. You don't need as much space. You're minimalist living. They sell out, right away. Yes, they're coming back. The only reason people aren't going in there is because people don't like shared air, elevators, et cetera, like we talked about. Yes, high-rises will come back. Then I think they're going to come back with a vengeance. Let's see. With the election over, do you think the unrest will die down? Will it make more big cities attractive? We talked about that. We think the unrest is going to die down, and I do think it's going to make cities more attractive. Will this help the international market come back with the election being done? Yes. As I said, it's going to make a lot of international buyers are on the fence too. You have to remember, and I said this in a couple of podcasts ago, is that you go to France and you're talking to your taxi driver, the first thing they'll bring up is the election. You'll get stopped at a store and they'll talk about our election, or they'll talk about our president, or they'll talk about our policies. The average American doesn't even know the policies. 9 out of 10 people don't even know what either party was running on. They just know who they liked. The other people in Europe and Asia and South America and all these other countries, they know what's happening. Because the way that our election has such a huge impact on the rest of the world, people do not realize this. I can't tell you how many of my international buyers were emailing me being like they were watching on election night. I was getting tons of emails from international buyers saying like, can you believe this? Blah, blah, blah. What's going on? How's this going to impact? Like, yeah. And now that this is over with, the international buyers are going to have a little bit less uncertainty, and so they're going to buy again. Will the vaccine also help with the international market? We talked about this. Is the election being over better for sellers or buyers? Better for sellers. If this vaccine is for real, it's legit, people are going to want to live in big cities again. Great migration, guys. It's going to be gangbusters for sellers. Remember I said that. I told everybody that after the election was going to happen, we're going to magically see this vaccine. Here it is. Is this real? 90% accurate. If it is, buyers, you better lock in now. You got about 60 days. Market's going to change. Is this vaccine is real? Will people not care about work from home spaces? We talked about that. It's not going to be big. People hate. Look at Starbucks, guys. There's another one. What about Starbucks? People love going to Starbucks. How many people, you go to Starbucks, somebody would have one cup of coffee a whole day, and they just work there all day because they hate working from home. You think people aren't going to work from Starbucks anymore? People aren't working from home anymore. I think that vaccine is legit. We're probably going to have a shutdown. Like I said, COVID's going to get worse here. I'm not saying COVID's done. I'm saying it's going to get worse, and then it's going to get better. It gets darkest before it gets bright, and I think we're headed into that dark tunnel, and at the end of that dark tunnel, it's pitch black. We're going to keep walking forward, and all of a sudden that light's going to hit us right in the face, and that's going to be the vaccine. And if this vaccine is real, we're going to have a dark winter and an extremely bright spring. Will we see companies roll out a game plan to get back to the office? And what will the buyers, and will this get buyers motivated to move back? Yeah, we talked about this. But one other point to make on that. The average person follows the other person. Humans are like rats. I hate to put it like that. It makes me sound terrible, but we are. We all talk to each other, and then we all believe each other on something, and we all look left. That's how we do it. That's how everybody acts. The ones who look right typically win, guys. And you know how I can give you a theory on that? Look at Vegas. How does Vegas always win? Right? How's the house always right? Everybody always says, oh, there's no way X team's going to win. There's no way. And then the other team wins. It's like, how did that happen? Well, Vegas won. It's the same mentality, guys. What's going to happen here is that right now the burbs are cool. Everybody said they're moving the burbs. Your office calls you up and says, hey, John, you're coming back to the office in March, and you're all the way up in Batavia. You're like, shit. Do I really want to come from Batavia to the Loop every day of the week? 5 days a week? 365 days a year? Well, not including weekends. Do the math. Probably not going to want to do that. That's going to make one of people move back to the city. So we're going to see a big change. What's your feeling about the vaccine, the election, and no fair housing? I feel great. I feel like I have new energy. Because I'll tell you, the election over with, whether, it's good or bad, I don't give a shit. It's over. That's what I'll tell you. I feel great that it's over. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want to hear the media talk about it anymore. I don't want to see these stupid fucking ads anymore. That's the worst thing. You watch regular TV. I still watch regular TV at the office. Got the news on all the time. You see those stupid political ads about why so-and-so is better. That, those are done with, which is a win and alone. The fact that there's no fair housing tax means that the people who would have lost on the fair housing tax are the people who don't make that much money. I'll tell you that right now. People who make under $60,000 a year, specifically people making $32,000, $34,000, they would have got crushed. And you think I'm wrong? Watch it get passed. Look at the other states, what happened to those people. They got crushed. So that not being passed is going to help out people and having more money. They're going to have more disposable income. And the fact that this vaccine is here, it erases the fear. I think these three things being done with means the fear is out of the market. And I'm praying to God, and I think it's going to happen, is that we're going to go back to normal. And remember, this is just the beginning of the great migration back to the city. Where can people find me? What do I want to plug? I'd like to plug the MattLaricygroup.com. Follow us on Instagram. And make sure to tune into our next episode and subscribe to our podcast. Thanks for listening to the Matt Laricy Project. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, follow us on Instagram, and like us on Facebook.